After 25, going on 26 years of doing advisory work for mid-market companies, it's not unusual, not uncommon to get the question, what's the most important thing an organization can do to grow? Generally, it'll be about revenue, or maybe it's about people, oftentimes how to empower people, how to grow people. All of those things are really important and frequently asked. And I don't know that there's one particular thing I would recommend. There's depends on the organization, depends on what is going on with the organization, how old it is, how what market it's in, all of the things that you have to consider. However, one thing I found very consistent with every organization, regardless of size, and how long it's been around, how successful or how much the struggles have been, probably the most powerful thing you can do is do a culture study. Now, if you took away everything that we do as an organization, I like it all. I like everything we do. I enjoy everything we do. I think everything we do is valuable, but it has to be administered based upon the needs of the organization, whether it's individual assessments, whether it's a marketing plan, strategic plan, whether it's our financial platform, whether it's a study in their branding, any of those kind of things. Every organization might have a different need for that. Every organization has a culture. Uh, and the thing I find almost just universally misunderstood is, what is culture? We started working 20 something years ago with Dr. Dan Denison of the Denison Organization. Came out of the University of Michigan originally. They're worldwide now. They're the largest uh, culture organization, measuring organization. We've worked with them for 20 years. We've done many, many surveys with them. So what is this idea of a culture survey, a culture study? Well, put in simple terms, it gathers the most critical information and compares it to other similar organizations. We don't call cultures good or bad. We call them consistent or inconsistent. We know that in studying a culture, first of all, you got to have a language. This gives us a language. What are the things that really make up a culture? You've often heard, it's my people, and certainly people are important. They certainly are an important part of the culture. But consistent culture makes for better people. Happy people don't make a consistent culture or a powerful culture. So the first thing we have to understand is, what's the language, what really matters in a culture. And it's not just the people. There are many other things. What we measure in our studies, and by the way, these studies can be done in 4 to 6 weeks, start to finish. But what the impact of these studies is, it tells us, number one, how much equity we've got in the company. What do I mean by that? Do our people understand our mission? Do they value our mission and our vision? Number two, do they have pride in the organization? Do they really think we matter? Are we making a difference? Number three, how do we get along within the organization? Are there silos brewing? Are there things going on we probably, as the top of the organization, we might ignore, we might not know about, we might not hear about? How do we get along? We compare it to family get-togethers. Oftentimes, family gets together. How'd that go? Well, it would have been better if so and so had shown up, or so and so would act better. But an organization is very much like a family in that sense. So it measures that. It also measures the power of the values in the organization, how we administer them. Are they consistent? Do people value those? Do they think they're being handled the right way? It measures engagement, which is how much individuals like their job, their particular role within the company. Commitment, how committed am I to this organization, or am I just here until something better comes along? Uh, how much trust do I have in the organization? Those things make up what I call the equity in an organization. The more they understand your mission, their vision, the more pride they have in the organization, the more the organization gets along, the more sense of value they have in the organization, or the sense that the values being administered, how much trust, engagement, and commitment they have in the organization. The more commitment, the more equity you have in an organization, the faster you can grow it, the more you can change, the more you can move, because your people are engaged. They're with you. Low equity in an organization causes it to slow down. Oftentimes, it almost eliminates the potential for change and growth. So a survey, a culture survey, Denison is the gold standard. They created the language. They created the benchmark. Uh, it it doesn't do any good to measure something or ask a lot of questions. You don't have anything to benchmark it against. I often say in life, our first benchmark, or our only benchmark for many people, is our mother. Mom told us when we were young, we were wonderful and beautiful and handsome and smart. We could do anything, and it didn't take us long to figure out that wasn't true. So we set up our own benchmark. How do we fit into the world around us? Companies do the same thing oftentimes. Well, I'm better than them, or I'm not as good as them, or I'm as big as them, or I'm not as big as them. None of that really matters because we don't have a benchmark against it. A survey gives you a benchmark. It gives you something to compare to. It gives you specifics of where within the organization you need to administer the work. Every organization and every part of the organization doesn't need the same thing. So in a culture survey, you break it down by tenure, you break it down by departments, you break it down by manager, you break it down by pay scale, you break it down by generation. Every part of the organization comes together. And that's what I call a culture, is you gather all of these folks from many different backgrounds, many different experiences, many different beliefs, many different ideas, many different needs and wants, and you pull them together and you say, hey, let's create something of value together. That's hard to do. So we want to measure. I call it the MRI. You may be healthy, you may feel good, you may sense nothing's wrong. It's good every once in a while to do an MRI just to make sure, just to say, hey, is something going on we didn't know about? But here's the most powerful, perhaps, benefit of doing a culture survey, and that is this. We do a lot of individual training. We value that. We think it's important. We see the benefit of it. We do a lot of work in every area of an organization. A culture study is a training program for the entire organization. It's something that we can administer for the entire organization because everybody in the organization benefits from it. So think of a culture survey as a blueprint to train the entire organization. If you're interested in doing a culture survey, you want to see one, you want to study it, you want to know more about it, give us a call. We're glad to do that. But what I want to convey in this message is just simply the value of understanding culture and how to measure it properly. And if there's a message I could send for 2026 for every leader or leadership team of every organization, is to get a culture survey, a validated one. Understand how much equity you have in the organization so you can understand how to grow the organization more effectively and faster.